Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at Logic FX Trading, and welcome to our daily FX analysis recording. Let's just start with the economic calendar for today. Quick look at yesterday, guys. US retail sales come in at 1.7%, so still pretty robust considering where inflation is at the minute, guys. Over to today, core inflation rate UK came in at 3.4, up on 3.1 forecast, and inflation came in at 4.2, up on 3.9 forecast. So that's running hotter than forecast, and obviously even the forecast is running hotter than you would normally like your inflation to be running at. Central banks in developed countries are generally looking for 2% or thereabouts, guys. So prices are running away themselves. The big question out there is it transitory? If it is transitory, how long is it going to take, guys? And the simple answer is nobody knows. I've been listening to this same argument for months now, and nobody knows. Everyone thought it would be sharp and short, sharp and short. In other words, it will last for a few months, but it certainly doesn't look like it's going to last that length of time. It looks like it's going to push into next year. So then, is it transitory? It's the big question we don't know. Central banks are left with the problem of saying, well, if we increase interest rates, do we kill growth? But if we don't increase them now, then we're going to have to really race things up into the back end of next year, which then could really cause major problems. So the big thing is trying to guess what they're going to do. And of course, some of the decisions are already priced in, even though they haven't happened yet. And then we've got to try and take that and see where the opportunities are, guys. So yesterday, I did say that I get the feeling that the Bank of England will have to increase interest rates. They have been talking about it. They didn't do it last month, guys. These inflation figures are probably going to force their hand, and they may well have to increase interest rates next month. Therefore, there should be some movement long in the pound. So far as the Eurozone is concerned, with figures coming through now as 2% actual, forecast 2.1%. Those are good numbers if they're true. I'll have to see what core inflation rate comes in at, but clearly those are better numbers than 3.4 in the UK. So no expectations of any interest rate hikes or what have you in the Eurozone just yet. So yet again, that points back to the US potentially, continuing the tapering and eventually starting to hike next year, guys. But obviously it will be priced in now or, over the next lot of weeks and months. So, dollar staying strong. Pound recovering a little bit from the recent drawdown. Oil's come off a little bit today, but nothing to write home about. Don't think they're going to cut production, guys, or increase production. So I can't see the oil price coming down anytime soon. Let's see what core inflation rate in Canada and inflation rate in Canada does today, guys. And then just a quick look at tomorrow, inflation rate in Japan. Okay, over to the charts. So yesterday we said we were looking for the yen to drop, we're looking for the pound to go long. It seems, according to our alarms, that the yen index at least has dropped. Now, remember, this is moved around by the dollar, which could indicate dollar having gone long, but there we have it. Yen's dropped. Pound yen's gone long. I opened the trade in pound yen. Excuse me, guys. I opened the trade on pound yen yesterday with a 5% leverage. When the trades go right, and I've used 5% or 5 times leverage, should I say, I get annoyed with myself, and when I use 10% and they go wrong, I get annoyed with myself. So I'm going to try and run with 5 to see if we get better results over a long period of time than we did a couple of years ago when we were using 10 times leverage, guys. With that pound movement, we have pound Swiss, pound CAD, and pound USD alarms all going off. But the one thing I did notice, because I have had a quick look through here, is that some of them spiked up, set the alarm off, and then came back down again, which at the moment isn't what the yen has done, which is the one that have decided had the best chance of actually going long. And then we've got New Zealand Swiss in there, but we'll have a look and see what that is, guys. So there's the breakout. There's the alarm line. There's the breakout on the yen, which we've been looking for. Hopefully that'll continue down, guys. And what we were looking for, we're saying this is a running flat and it's dropped out of here. So it's certainly, certainly targeting that sort of area. The XY has pushed on up from here. What's it done since yesterday? Is it consolidating or no? It's just continued to push up. I think 17th, 16th. Yeah, it hasn't moved much. We were 16th yesterday. It spiked up and come back down again, but no real sign of the dollar wanting to or needing to come back down again, guys. So it is a case of looking for setups and trying to trade it long against the right currency, guys. Euro, and obviously that will run the opposite way. But yet again, guys, you're looking for some sort of setup to get involved in it. If you're not in, I don't know if that's going to happen. But if it did happen, it started to break again, that would be your next trade. If you're already in it, then obviously it's just a case of, pushing your stop loss to protect what you already have. And then if it comes back up sharply before going again, obviously you'd be stopped out, but you would protect that in case there were a change of direction. But to be honest, I'm not looking for that at the moment. Pound, well, there's the little flash back up and down on the pound, which set the alarm off. So no breakout there, but we did say that I thought that the pound dollar will more likely run flat if they're both going to go long. Aussie USD, yeah, continued to push short. I suspect it's going to break down through here, guys. Probably take that out for the meantime. Just take that off there. You always have to be careful of your structures, guys, because even though we don't necessarily always know the reason why, often structure lines are adhered to. So it's not necessarily a great place to get involved in something near a structure line. Yet again, if you got involved there and you're away from zero, get your stop to zero and see if it pushes on down through. But I wouldn't like to get involved at that point because you could get a reaction off there before it goes again. New Zealand, something similar, guys, similar structure there. I just scribbled it in yesterday. As I've indicated recently, I will start to put charts back up onto TradingView. Haven't been doing it for a long time, guys. I actually tried to do one yesterday and got a bit frustrated with the whole process and gave up on it. But I will get into it. It's just one of those things you need to be in the routine of doing it, guys. I've got that running there, guys, but there's no real reason why I would suspect that was going to go long. So really that alarm should be run across there. US CAD. I still see a bit of strength in CAD, guys, so can it push on up? It can, but I wouldn't be trying to trade that just yet. Little bit of a reaction off there, but it did break through, guys. It's broken through there. So I suspect there's probably more upside to it, but yet again, as we were looking for there, we've got to constantly look for setups, folks. So if you got involved in that because it broke out, well, you'd be in the red now, guys. So you wait for the pullback, and then look for it to go long. And if it doesn't then break out and go long, or you don't get the setup, then leave it alone. There's just so many things to trade, guys. US yen said this would break out and would run up. It has done. I suspect it will continue to go up. But yet again, if you're in from down here, fantastic. If you're not, look for a setup and let it go. Because if you don't look for the setup, guys, it could well end up doing something like that before it goes. I don't know the reason why it would do that, but you know how these things move. Um, and then it would take off. Now, I'm not suggesting it's going to do that. I'm just trying to emphasize the fact that you do need to wait for proper setups, or else you end up getting pulled into some sort of drawdown. And then you know, it's a week later, you're still in the drawdown. You forget the reasons why you opened the trade in the first place. You get fearful, and then you get out of the thing. And then 2 weeks later, you would have been making a profit, but instead you made, you know, $100, $200 loss on the thing, depending on the size of the trade, obviously. US Swiss, that's probably a little bit exaggerated there, guys. But all we're saying is, yet again, let's look for some sort of setup. Now, obviously, the danger we have with the dollar at the minute is that the market always moves long before news comes out. So how much of the suspected increase in interest rates is already priced in? Well, we don't know that. But all we can do is continue to try and trade it long and look for decent setups, guys. Gold stalling a little bit, but you know, with these inflation numbers, ordinarily you would see gold continuing to push long. But yet again, maybe looking for some sort of setup before getting into it if you're not already into it. And silver be the same thing. All I was saying there yesterday was that potentially it could push on up, and then we'll get a period of consolidation, and then off you go. Remembering that sometimes we draw these in higher time scales, which then make them look a little bit exaggerated when you go down to the 1 hour time scale. But the point of it is that you're always looking for a correction to try and trade up, get your stop to zero, and then decide, you know, how long you want to stay in the thing for, whether you want to get to your target or whatever. Maybe your target's 5% or 10%, and you hit it there and then you're out of it. It's entirely up to yourself what your trading strategy would be. I'm trying to get away from the 5% trading strategy I've been in for most of the year. 5% meaning taking 5, 6, 7, 8% profits. The main reason for that being was that things got so expensive coming into January, February that, you know, prices had to come off from there, guys. And we did see an awful lot, particularly of stocks, not atomic currencies here, guys. We saw an awful lot of stocks doing this sort of thing, growth stocks that have been pushed way up, and now they're back down into there again, guys. And when you look at the at the profits and that their PEs and what have you, understand the reason why they are where they are now. But you know, how they got up to there, well, that was just pure speculation, guys. And those guys are now selling up, taking their profits and pulling prices right back down. Bitcoin is still in this drawdown, guys. I got into Solana the other day, SOLANA, because I think it is one of the rivals down the line for particularly Ethereum. I'm no expert in it, guys, but if you decide to try and trade cryptos, you're going to have to do your homework on it. And of course, they all kind of move the same way. So Solana's pulled down, or is it Solanas, whatever it is. It's also pulled back, and of course, I'm now involved, and therefore I'm looking for the next move up, and of course it could come much deeper. But that's what happens. I did say I wouldn't get involved in cryptos in this on eToro, and I still feel that I shouldn't. But what happens is you go and you look at, you know, my account's sitting at somewhere around 9% so far for the year, guys. We were looking for 20 with 2 months left, or a month and a half left. So obviously 20's off the board. If we can get to 10, maybe we're happy. But what I've done is I've gone and looked at an awful lot of other people who are up in the 20s and 30s, and so many of them have made that extra money off the back um, of cryptos, you know. And sometimes you just feel like you're missing out. Um, we'll have to see whether it's a good plan or not. I suppose you really got to believe in it and hold on to it. There's Ethereum also pulled back yet again. If we got a bit more downside to that, that might well be worth breakout. Similar to that, as we said the other day. And of course, as I keep saying, I love pointing out my mistakes, guys. I don't know if it was there or in here. I got involved in Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think it was that juncture there, guys. And then got out of it when I made a little bit of profit, which obviously was the wrong thing to do. Same down there. I think it was there. I got involved, and then I missed all of that because I got out. I think I got out there or something, or possibly there. You know, sometimes I'm a bit of a chicken, guys. And that's down to personal trading strategy and, you know, past experience, etc., guys. Doesn't change the analysis one iota, but what it does do is determine how much you make out of trades when you get them correct. Oil, as we've been saying, can't see it dropping. Listen, it could do something like that, but ultimately, I think there's more upside. It could well reach $100 a barrel, guys. EuroCAD, there we were looking for that little breakout. I think we had that already yesterday. It's pushed on down. We did because that alarm was put on after the movement happened. Yeah, there's possibly more downside to the euro, guys, but this is quite well developed. That would have been the place to get involved in it. So if you're in there and it's broken out, put your stop to zero and then just have some patience, see if it pushes on down. Euro was, same things happened there. That was the place to get involved. Now, I've drawn that because I basically said, listen, there's a possible 5 in there. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, you know. Maybe something like there would be your target, your technical target. But if you're in it, fantastic. If you're not in it, I wouldn't be jumping in there. Euro New Zealand, possibly the same thing, guys. Excuse me. It's at the bottom of that structure. Not a great place to get involved. Particularly if you want to trade that way, you got to get in up there, guys. Because the possibility is that will come back up again. If it does, and you still believe that that's going to drop, that might be the place to get involved. With it being there, if you're not already in it, I wouldn't bother. Euro yen. Well, as I said yesterday, if you're going to trade, well, the only thing I would say with this is, your US yen would be the trade to take. But if you didn't want to get involved in it there, which I wouldn't be getting involved there, then maybe you've missed the boat. But really, you should have been in this and back down here if you were interested in it as it broke out there, or even better from there. Now, is euro yen going to go long? Quite possibly, but not as high a probability as the dollar yen. Unless, of course, you got to pull back on the dollar. You know, if this corrected, then for that period of time, whether it's a week or two, then you would see an upside to the euro for a week or two, which possibly could give you that. But I wouldn't be jumping into that, guys. The other thing to do is you could potentially fid that. It's come down to 78. And there's no point in taking it to there. Look at the bigger picture on it. These were targets we put in when it was way down here. Didn't actually trade it, but it's a daily time scale, guys. So it's hit 1 and 2. Is it possibly going to hit 3? If it is, then you would look for that push up there. Not convinced. Euro Swiss. It's come back into this low, guys. You potentially could get a reaction off there. But what I would do would be wait. I would prefer to trade this up as a from a purely technical point of view, forgetting what the actual chart is. If you were looking at this, you would say, well, we're looking for a breakout there, maybe a setup, and then to trade it back up to there again. But fundamentally, I don't know why that would happen. But as you know, often these things happen despite the fundamentals. I'm not suggesting jump into it. I'm just giving you an opinion on it, guys. Okay, pound CAD. Yet again, little spike up. Set the alarm off, and it's come back down again. Pound Oz. It's managed to sneak round the side of the alarm. So let's just move it over. That one's actually hung on in there. Interestingly, it's broken through here. But there is also a possibility that we've some sort of structure going on here, which means that, it may come back down here before pushing up again. So whatever that looks like, if it were to come back down there, then that may well be the trade if you're not already in from the breakout there, guys. Pound New Zealand, very similar. Of course, it could, continue to push up, particularly, and the same with the Aussie, guys. It could continue to push on up like that if the Bank of England start to make more noises about increasing interest rates. But you need the setup. For me, you need the setup. Or from my trading strategy, you need the setup, guys. So I'm not saying it's going to do that. I'm saying it's possible to do that. If it came back down again, that would be a setup to get involved. If you're already in it, get your stop to zero and see if it just runs, guys. Pound Swiss. Yet again, it's pushed on up through there. That's another alarm that's come off. That one stayed. There's a little bit of a pullback at the minute, but that one stayed. It didn't flash crash like the others. Do we get a little bit of a pullback today to give us a setup to get into it again? Pound Euro, same thing. It's pushed on up. A little bit of a pullback today. Let's see. Does this give us a setup over the next few days or next week or so? Remember, it's going to be into November. Sorry, where are we in November? Going to be into December before we find out whether the Bank of England are going to increase interest rates. And then the yen, same guys, pushed on up. And now we've had the little pullback. I've now got my stop loss to zero wherever it was that I got in. So hoping that it, continues to move, something like that, rather than coming down sharply and then going, because then I'll not be in it. So let's just reset that alarm. So it's making an attempt to break out of this structure that it's in. Now, look at how it moved the last time. But do remember, you get these types of pullbacks here, guys, which really can either stop you out or make you panic and get you to sell out, and then you miss the move. So if this comes down sharply, I'll be stopped out. But if it doesn't, it pushes on up before it pulls back, then it'll be in a nice trade. Aussie yen. A little bit of a pullback there. I suspect this will move up if the yen's going to continue to drop. Aussie New Zealand, I don't have a handle on this at the minute, guys. I tend to just trade this, from one extreme to the other. But at the moment, we've been in this long, drawn-out correction, which is bringing price back down towards the bottom of the channel. Let me just take that out a little bit. And at some point, this will start to push long again and may even come back up into this sort of area here, guys. But it's just about getting the timing right. The last time I traded this, I got it completely wrong. Where was it, folks? It was here somewhere. Because this had come back down. They don't always look right when you're in the wrong time scale, guys. This had come back down, and I was looking for it to push on up. And we got that. And then I just got out. Because that was quite a move. That's 4 hours, remember. That was quite a move. Especially if you're on a 10 times leverage, which is the reason why I'm saying possibly better to take it to 5. And then you don't get battered so much. And then back up it came again. So we could at least get out for a break even before it went. But, you're not always going to get them right, guys. It's about getting a percentage more right than wrong, and then that's what gives you your profit. Aussie Swiss, don't know. Aussie CAD, don't know. Swiss yen, I think there'll be more upside to that to come. But it's where the breakout is and where do you get involved in it. Remember, this is on 4 hours, guys. CAD Swiss, the reason for the noise is that I do like to trade this. All right, well, it had already moved yesterday. If this gives us some sort of pullback here, see that? If that continues and it drops, then maybe there'll be a setup there to get long in that. CAD yen, the same thing which we were talking about yesterday as well, guys. For me, you're looking for a setup in that. Trade it long. New Zealand yen. Structural, of course, but potential. I thought I deleted all of that. Potential fifth wave. So yet again, it could be one of those ones where you just decide, listen, I'm going to have a go at this. Yet again, it depends on your trading strategy. Maybe you say, right, I'm going to put a stop loss in there. There are people that put stop losses in there, guys, but then you really need to be an active trader for that because you'll get them hit a lot. Maybe you put a stop loss in there. The important thing is the amount of money you commit to the distance. In other words, you can have that distance from there to there represent 1%, but you can also stretch it out so that 1% represents that, guys. And obviously then the reverse happens the other way, that distance would be 1% if you took it tight, and that distance would be 1% if you took it further out. Don't push it such that this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, guys, depending on obviously your position size, etc. But if you decide to have wider stop losses, the need to represent the same amount of money in real terms as a tighter stop loss would, guys. In other words, if you put $500 in this, don't be putting a stop loss there that equals $250, guys. If your stop loss there would equal 100, then make that equal 100 as well. New Zealand CAD. No, leave that one. I don't have a big handle on New Zealand or Aussie against the CAD, guys, because they're very similar commodity-based economies, guys. New Zealand Swiss. Looks like it wants to push long, but for the moment, I wouldn't try and go long through there, guys. See if it gave you another push down, maybe a little ending diagonal or something like that. The place to get involved, and that would have been there. Hasn't moved that much, but that would have been the place. If it comes down again, either comes there, breaks there, and starts to come up, maybe that would be the place to get involved. You want to see something impulsive, something more like that, guys. That looks more like it's stalling and then it's going to drop again. Okay, that'll do it for today, guys. I'll starting to get a bit of a handle on it. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.